I do want to also validate what Andy said about the change that has to happen for students. Not just the teachers, not just the curriculum, but we need to allow or permit our students to become very much involved in their education. They need to be given the chance to take ownership of their life. And I believe that's the difference between just being any kind of student and becoming a real scholar, and to actually even have the opportunity to teach one another. I'm always constantly being surprised and amazed by what the students can teach us. I want to make a few points here. We live in an incredibly rapidly changing world, and we're moving from a nation state into a very globally connected society. And television, the internet, the iPhone, the wireless handphone, all of these things, and the social media that has come more recently, these are breaking down the traditional barriers between cultures for a large section of the population, not only those people who have enough money to travel, but also people who don't, who can at least afford a phone or at least afford a television. And actually, looking at the media, I feel that they're way ahead of our schools, in the sense that I watch my television and I can see something happening in Africa or something happening in Australia instantly. I can pick up my iPhone and I can check exactly what's going on in the world or the weather or anything else. But in our schools, we're still, in some ways, just dealing with a national focus or just dealing with the everyday things when the world is going at hyper speed. And so we need to catch up there. One of the biggest questions I have is really, whose culture are we going to teach about? When we look at, and whose perspective are we going to teach history from? At the moment, the international language happens to be English, but who can say what it's going to be in the future? We have a fifth of the population who speak Chinese, and perhaps surprisingly, the next largest population is Hindi, 400 million. Then we have Spanish speakers, 329 million. So actually English is not the majority in some ways, but it has the breadth. It's spoken and used in over 112 countries, so that's why it happens to be what it is. But what will be in the future? Should we be preparing for a Chinese international language or an Arabic one? We have to really think about those things. It's important for a person to have knowledge and appreciation of their own language and culture. I've been in Korea now for 11 years, and I've been somewhat saddened and also shocked to find young people who do not really know who they are. They're not sure whether they're Korean still, or whether they're Australian, or whether they're New Zealand. They're ethnically Korean, but they're not really totally sure about where they come from. And I think that education has a very important role to help these people to be in touch with their national origins, but also be in touch with the world. Our economies are rapidly becoming more dependent on each other, and education should be advocating a mutual kind of prosperity for all, rather than just for the privileged few. One of our problems right now, I believe, is that our present university system is directed more towards the privileged few. We need to open that up. We need to think about how to bring that kind of opportunity to more people. So this, in order for us as educators to bring a peaceful world, we need to understand how to bring unity with diversity. Both educators now as well as future educators need to be aware of the legacy that they will leave. And this, whatever they leave, will be the deciding factor whether we can really develop a peaceful world and whether our education will accomplish that, or whether we'll go into another war or another conflict. So those are my comments. I'm very grateful that we could have a presentation, particularly Rod's presentation about Round Square. I think it is a great example of a solution, and I'm sure that there are things we can grow and develop with it, but thank you for the time. Thank you.